Guys, I'm so technically challenged. I thought I had all this figured out. Trying to get her to join, and she's waiting on me. There she is. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Hey, beauty.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, y'all. I have lipstick on my teeth.
Look at me looking. Maybe a little bit from here.
Okay, we're good. That's the braces too, so hold on.
That's right.
Okay, we're good. Hey, beauty, you look so
I
pretty.
wore red lipstick for you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Yeah, I think I'm good. I think it's the braces. Okay. Hello, everyone. Oh, we have a lot of people joining. This is awesome stuff. Hey, you guys. Okay, Ramona, I guess we'll hey you guys, we'll dive right into this, I guess.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
But I wanted to give everybody just a little background of Recipe for Conversation. This is actually my first episode of Recipe for Conversation. Yay. Okay, so the concept and the idea came about because, everybody knows I'm a baker. And when I bake, it just seems like baking just seems to speak to me. Like I learned life lessons through baking. And one day I was in the kitchen and I started thinking about people and personalities and stories and the things that make people who they are. And I was like, wow, so everybody has their own recipe. And then I started thinking the things that make us who we are our ingredients. And
Mm-hmm.
you bring all the ingredients, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that together, it all makes us who we are. It all makes us a complete recipe. So that's where the whole concept of recipe for conversation came about, where I thought, okay, so everybody has their recipe, and I want to talk about your ingredients, the things that make you who you are.
Okay, okay.
So, Ramunda,
Yes.
today, my beautiful friend, you are the
I'm so
recipe
excited.
for conversation. And let me introduce you guys to this wonderful lady who I have on with me today for this live conversation. This is Ramunda Young. I'm going to read off some of all of her accolades. This is just a little tidbit of her accolades on this screen with you guys today. You have the vice chair of the Prince William County Human Rights Commission. She was the 2015 Commissioner of the Year. She was nominated in 2018 by Route 100 as one of the top influential African Americans in the nation, not just DC, but in the nation, the top 100. That's who you guys have talking to you guys today. And some of the features, she has a bookstore, and some of the places where her bookstore has been featured is in Essence Magazine, Vanity Fair, which I have a copy of. She was just recently featured in OWN magazine. Her bookstore was just featured in OWN magazine, Oprah Winfrey's magazine. She was featured in the Washington Post, and she is also a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Hey, come on, Z5 for the sword. Okay, I'm listening. Yes, ma'am.
So, Ramunda, I'm honored, out of all those accolades that I just read off, out of all those amazing achievements, one of the one things that I can say is that you're my awesome, awesome best friend. So I'm honored that you are my first guest for today's show. Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. Okay, Ramunda, so I don't want to keep you long. I know you have to jump into a meeting, so multitasking. So can you tell them a little bit about yourself? Just tell them a little bit about the bookstore, how it came about, just a little bit about your journey.
Absolutely. So the bookstore actually started now. It's been 13 years. April, it was 13 years. And my husband and I started it in our one-bedroom apartment in Alexandria, Virginia. And we were tossing around ideas of what can we do that contributes to the community, that contributes to culture, and that could leave a legacy for us that we really felt connected to. And we were at one point a part of a business team, and he actually came on board on my team. My husband did.
Okay.
I know, he was like, let me, wherever you're going to be at, I want to be there. So brought him on board as part of my team. But was very successful at the team. He and I joined it and had a great journey and did that 5 years, but we still felt empty. Amazing people that I have, friends with to this day, but there was something more that we were looking for. And we tossed around the bookstore, we tossed around a lounge, but again, looking for culture, community, and connection, right? And so the bookstore allowed us to really encapsulate all three, to be honest. We really felt like this was something that could help change our community. And so we were in our 1-bedroom apartment with a laptop. My husband had no experience creating a website. I had no experience in the book industry at that time, but we knew, this was something we had to do. And that's kind of where it started. I was not exposed to hardly any Black books growing up until I went to Langston University and an amazing HBCU in Oklahoma, right? Both of us went to LU. Right. And I was not exposed to Black books, even though I grew up in Tulsa, very close to Black Wall Street, all that rich history there. But when we looked at books, that really spoke to me personally, and it really spoke to my husband. And so 13 years ago, we didn't have a physical place, but we were all over the community just making Black books accessible. We went online because one of the things that really was compelling to me was how do we reach as many people in the world as possible with the lowest overhead, and online allowed us to do that. So we always wanted to have a physical space, but God is, I won't start preaching. I got my Kleenex close by. I won't start preaching, right?
Please, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, we serve an amazing God. Even though we were saying we wanted to have a physical store, he said, wait a minute, go online. You can reach everybody. And that took a little bit for us to swallow, but we embraced it eventually. And so fast forward to, 2.5 years ago when we opened up our physical space, all those years of being out in the community, setting up tables at festivals, handing out books to kids, selling books for different authors at events in restaurants and nightclubs, out on tennis courts. We were everywhere because we really wanted people to have access to Black books. So we were out in the heat and everything. And then fast forward, like I said, to 2.5 years ago, when we opened our doors, it is amazing that those thousands of people that we had been seeing and had been meeting and connecting with in the community, all those years when our doors opened, they came with us. And I say they came with us because they were always asking, when are you going to open up a store? Where are you located? And we're like, we don't have a store. So God's timing is so perfect, even though we were wanting one thing. And he said, be patient. And so when we opened the door, a lot of people think, oh, you guys just made it. I often tell people we're the 10-year overnight success because it's been several years, before we opened, but a lot of people just hearing about us now. So it's been an amazing
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, the topic of today's conversation is about purpose, and you've said a lot of amazing things that have really resonated with me, about my journey as well. And so I wanted to talk to you more about that, why books, why did you guys pick that vehicle, to activate your purpose? Because, I say this, this is one question I wanted to answer today on this live. I get a lot of people who ask me, Antoinette, how do you know whether or not you're walking in your purpose? What am I here for? I don't know, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I tell people they're asking the wrong question. I don't think the question should be, what is my purpose? Because we were sent here with purpose. We were sent here with an assignment. It's on the inside of you. Regardless of where you go, you carry purpose with you in any room that you walk into. The question is, what is the vehicle that's going to be used to activate your purpose? So for you and your husband, it seems to be that vehicle was the avenue with books, was the avenue of wanting to, create literacy, promote literacy within our community. So can you talk a little bit about why literacy for the both of you?
So let me throw a little spin here for you, sister girl. So you're right. Our purpose really is something we're born with. I wholeheartedly agree. But for me and my husband, this was his dream. A lot of people think, oh, the bookstore was your dream, Ramunda. And even though I've worked in the book industry for almost 15 years, it was something that was his dream, right? But God is funny. Even though I'm the one who's worked in the bookstore industry all those years, but he's the one who had the dream. And so when I met
Oh,
this brother on
wow.
the dance floor 18 years ago in DC, who knew even then, all those years of me working in the book
Wow.
industry as a buyer, as a director of operations, as a district manager, all of those things led me to this brother who I met on the dance floor. So the bookstore
Wow.
was his dream, his goal, and I didn't know that. And so when I think of purpose for me, it started back when I was young, and I didn't think of a bookstore at that point. What I love to do and what I know that my purpose is to connect people, is to bring people together. When I was little, I didn't know that. I would have, a little time at home. I would bring all my sisters together. There's four of us, two sisters and a brother. And I was always doing these activities that would bring us together. We'd have garage sale. We'd lay all our stuff out on the bed. But it was just really focused on me bringing this together and interacting. So that was when I was little. And then as I got
Oh,
older,
yes.
yeah, I was just like, I love what that feeling feels like, bringing people
Yeah.
together. And not so much for me, but what all of us get when we come together like that. So that was when I was little, always coming up with different ideas to bring us together. I didn't realize that that was purpose, right? And so when I think of purpose,
Oh.
that purpose, honey, that
Hmm.
purpose can land you all over the place. In a
I know.
bookstore, on a stage, right? That purpose is, so for
Yes.
me, it was connecting, bringing people together. And so when I look back over my life so far, it was always, that was something deep in me. And not just, like I said, oh, let me bring something together for me. It was never that. It was what I knew it meant to a lot of other people, what it felt like to be connected, to be seen, and to be heard. Even to the point where I created a business that's focused on connecting people. And I go out and speak about connecting. So for me, that was what my purpose. And to answer your question about the bookstore, even though the bookstore is my husband's dream, God is funny. He allows my purpose to allow our bookstore to be next level. My husband tells me this all the time. It's funny how we look at it. At first we're like, I was, marriage. I was like, are you doing more? I'm not doing more. Are you doing more? It was always this little wondering, I don't know if we were competing, but maybe my type A personality made me feel like that. This was years and years ago. But so, I know, right? I got a type A personality. But I was wrong. But what I love that he sees my purpose as well, he sees the value of it. He always talks about our building as our business as a skyscraper, right? And when you think of a skyscraper, there's an amazing foundation that must be laid for this building to
Yeah.
rise. It must be there. So people
Hmm.
think, oh, the foundation is the most important part of the building, right? You've dug, you've worked, you create this foundation. But then my husband and I look at, and he's mentioned this, that I am like the skyscraper part of the building, right? And so when people
Hmm.
walk up to this building, they see, oh my gosh, look at all this amazing whatever that this building is, and think that that's the most important part. Well, in
Hmm.
finding your purpose, they're interlocked in a lot of ways. When I think of this building, the foundation is just as crucial as the part that everybody can see, right?
Right.
And the
Right.
opposite way is, if I did not have a solid foundation, the part that people could see would crumble, right? So both
Gotcha.
pieces in our business when it comes to purpose are amazing, are necessary. And so the purpose of me bringing people together and connecting is what I've done well in our business, from connecting us with authors to the readers that come in our store. I never meet a stranger. I hug on people because I know what connection means. My husband is brilliant, but hugging on people is not his thing. Connection is
Hmm.
something that's important to me. So it shows up in our business. It shows up when we have little kids come to our store and we talk to them about their identity and we talk about self-esteem. That's my purpose. That's me showing up and
Hmm.
connecting them to themselves. And so the
Right.
bookstore, God is funny, the bookstore has allowed my purpose to flourish in that space, but that's not the only space. Purpose can allow you to travel through a myriad
That.
of purpose, of
That.
places, right? So a
Yes.
lot of times people think, oh,
Hmm.
my job is my purpose. No, no, no. There's
No.
some, right? There's some specific skills that you came with, that you were born with, that can show
That.
up all along your journey, from the stage, from you writing a book. You can write different prescriptive pieces of your journey, your purpose in a book. It can show up a lot of
Hmm.
different ways. God didn't make us a one-trick pony. He allowed us to be able
Right.
to move in a lot of different spaces with that one purpose. So
Hmm.
that's how it
Hmm.
shows up in our business. It allows me to connect with so many authors, so many readers, and so many people in the community that show up and think, oh, it's just a bookstore. It's not a bookstore, just it's not.
Right. And then you get that feeling, because I've been at your bookstore. So if any of you guys here on this live, you haven't had a chance to visit Mahogany Books in
Mhm.
DC, get there. If you're in the area, get there. Like, it's this atmosphere of love. And, and that's something that I say, and that ties me into my next question. What I have for you is, with you having a degree, was it hard for you to let go of the corporate journey to open your bookstore? So I'm saying all of that to say, like what I was saying, like I've been in your environment, and when you go into your space, there's a place for everybody. And you are the connection strategist, because literally I've been in the room and you're like, hey, you need this, she does this over here, or you need this person, they do this over here. But again, you guys pick the right vehicle to allow you that opportunity to touch all those people. Like, again, for me, if it wasn't for baking, I wouldn't have that opportunity, to do all the stuff that I've done. So I'm saying all that to say, to ask the question again, with you having a degree, was it hard for you to let go? It's more so, I guess, even for your husband, because he let go of, and just went full-fledged into the bookstore. Was that hard to make that leap to do that?
Well, the leap to being an entrepreneur is very scary. The definition of entrepreneur is risk taker. That's part of it. So yes, it was a risk. We looked at our money, 401k. We didn't have money to start a bookstore. That's why we went online, right? We could have pay for a URL, open up our laptop and get busy and still make an impact. So the biggest part, the scariest part was pulling from our 401k. I'm getting old, honey. I'm like, whoa, this money's supposed to be there when I get in my 50s, which I'm not, terribly far away from now. But we took that leap 13 years ago and pulled money from our 401ks and prayed about it. And it was very scary because it was something new. Even though we would go on dates in bookstores, we hadn't run a bookstore. We would, be passionate about books. That sense of what it meant to run an enterprise like that was very scary. It was new. But God is funny. So when I think of my corporate career, again, with my purpose, God puts dots all along my journey. So my purpose is not, our bookstore. My purpose is, again, connecting people. Even in my corporate journey, I didn't realize that my gift would show up here. I was able to manage teams and bring teams of about 22 people I would manage. And my purpose showed up there in bringing them together and unifying them. I remember one time in particular, I had, celebrated one of the young ladies' birthdays, and she cried. I was like, what? We celebrate everybody's birthday. And it was just my department. I remember everybody. And we celebrated her birthday, and later I found her in the back crying. She said, no one had ever celebrated my birthday in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
So purpose was there for me to bring. Nobody said you got to throw a party for your team, every single person in your team. So purpose from a career perspective was there. So it shows up, in a lot of different places. But owning a bookstore was scary as heck. I'll say scary as hell, and I don't cuss that much, but it was scary. Because it's a risk, right? It's a risk.
Right. Exactly.
And marketing. And it was just he and I who started this website. My husband would be up late trying to create a website, and I'd be sitting over there trying to do my part too, and trying to see who we could email and reach out to host events. So yeah, it was very scary because you don't know. People don't know your name at that point. You're calling people, and they're like, Mahogany, who is this? And you're like, I want to host your event. So yeah, but I think just knowing that deep down, what we were doing was connecting the community around literature, around culture, always allowed us to keep stepping out boldly, even though we were scared. I was scared many times, still to this day. I get nervous stepping out. But I often tell people, and what I believe is to be true, is the difference between mediocre people and extraordinary people. They both are on the sidelines, nervous, scared, knees shaking at times. But the extraordinary person steps forward every single time. And the mediocre person sits on the side and wonders and hems and should I do it, should I not? But they're both at the same space to make that move. So I think it's about stepping out. So yeah, it was scary. It still is.
That's good. And I wanted to, like I said, just have this conversation because I know for me, I struggled for a while with just being secure with the fact that baking was the vehicle for me, and I say that to tell people that don't question the vehicle that God wants to use for you. For you, it's books. For me, it's baking. And baking has gotten me in places that sitting in a cubicle in corporate America has never allowed me the opportunity to have. So I had to become confident in the gift,
Mm-hmm.
like you were saying, going along the way, you guys learning the bumps in the road and becoming more comfortable in your skill sets. You started online first, you said, and then making that leap into, okay, now we're going to go from online to an actual brick and mortar. That's amazing in itself. That's a feat in itself. So,
Mm-hmm.
I just say that for all of you listening, I just wanted to drive that point home to you, that again, purpose is within you. You were born here with it. You were sent here with your assignment, what you're supposed to do here on the earth. The question is, what is God going to use to get you in the rooms to activate purpose, to have those moments with people where, like Ramunda, how she becomes the connection strategist, where they open a bookstore. Now the bookstore has become an incubator for people to come from all different walks of life and then have this moment where Ramunda, where she then connects them and brings all the pieces together where they find their next person they need to meet to get to their next level. So again, if they hadn't opened the store, that vehicle wouldn't be there for them. So another question for you, Ramunda, is how do you define success?
Oh, that's good. How do I define success? I think it's pretty simple to me. I think it's pretty simple. It's knowing that that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I think it's just really you knowing that your personality, your personality and your purpose align. That's what success is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
out in this space doing things that they think, oh, they see somebody else doing it. Oh, I should be doing this. And they think, oh, I'm going to copy what they're doing, or they're searching. Is this me? Is this not me? But they're copying somebody else's. And so for me, our personalities are what we come to the table with. We can
Right.
try to tweak it. We can try to read up books about it. We can do this, but our personality and our purpose, when those two align, that is success to me. Because there's a lot of people out here with an imposter syndrome. And I have dealt with that still to this day. But right, girl, with imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be doing this and that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, that's
And you
so good.
struggle with
That's so
that.
good.
So when my
Mm-hmm.
personality, who I am, not who somebody else thinks I'm supposed to be, not who, the different boards that I sit on that they think I should show up as, my personality and my purpose, when those two align, that's success for me. Because now I can kind of weave in and out of a lot of different spaces. I can go to penthouses and sell books and feel secure and feel confident and feel proud.
Yes.
Even though it's a
Yes.
book
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like the servant, I don't have to feel like the help. I know what I'm there to do. And so my
Right.
personality and my purpose align. That is success for me. And that's in a lot of ways. My personality shows as a mom. My personality shows up as a wife. So it's not a very narrow space. It's a very broad space. I think a
Right.
lot of
That's
people need
good.
to find out what that is for them. How, and it shows there's
Yeah.
patterns in their life all along. There's
Yes.
patterns.
Yes.
Girl, there's some
Yes.
patterns.
I know, because I think like you and I both, we come from a collegiate background. We have friends who have 5,000 letters after their names and 10,000 degrees, and accomplished people, and for me, it took a while because I was like, really, God, you're going to use cake? Like,
Right. I know.
because for me, success, I had it where it looked a certain way for me, and I felt like because it wasn't coming the way that I thought it should come, that I wasn't successful,
Mm,
and it began to destroy me,
yeah.
the idea of what other people I knew deemed as success. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not Antoinette's success. So literally I had to get still, and one day I just said, God, you're going to have to show me your idea of success for me, because the way I see it and what I want is killing me, because I wasn't accomplishing it. It wasn't coming along. And so I started to see that success are those moments where I have an opportunity to deliver a cake or a cupcake and have an opportunity to tell a woman you're beautiful, because that's just what she needed that day.
Absolutely.
So to God, that's success, because that's what I was supposed to do that day. That was part of my journey. Do
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And I've seen you do
I
that,
think,
honey.
yeah.
I have seen you do it, and people leave in tears. I'm in tears and crying. And I think of one example, because you were baking and your celebrity status has gotten to you to this point to where they're like, well, let's invite her in to be a judge of this big pageant and all this stuff. That's because of
Mhm.
baking, right? But I
Right.
remember that, and it was an honor to both of us to get to be judges. That was so cool. But you being in that space, because baking and the career and the trajectory of your success had allowed people to see you in such an elevated way, allowed you to be in a room behind closed doors with this woman who is amazing, but you spoke into her life in such a deep, intentional, impactful way that baking cupcakes and all this other stuff would have never gotten you, even in that space, to fly across the
Right.
country, to be in that room. And you've shared this too. Your reason to be there was to talk to her. And I'm like, our reason is to come do this judge and hang out and kick it, which was part of our experience too. But I will never forget that day. I will never forget that experience, that your purpose led you to be bold and share and impact her. So I've seen it for myself. So yes, you are right. It will put you in rooms to where you're supposed to show up and show out, regardless of who's there to see it. So
Right, right. So, and you guys can start asking questions if you want to. Again, I won't keep Ramunda long. I know she has another amazing meeting to walk into, but I just really wanted to come on here and have this discussion with everyone again because I'm being asked that question a lot because people see the accolades, people see what you've accomplished, they see you on a screen, and they feel like that's the be all end all. But for me, that that gets me in the door, but when I get in the door, I'm asking the major question, which is why am I here?
absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Because I know it's bigger than Antoinette, and I know you probably have those situations too where you're just like, okay, it's bigger than the book. Why am I here today? Do you look for moments like that where you're intentional about listening and discerning the atmosphere when you walk into it?
100%. But I don't know if I go looking. I know I'm there for a reason, so God will present it. So I don't know if I'm gonna walk in like, oh, where's it gonna be? I don't know if I feel that. And some people do. Everybody, God shows up in different ways. But
Right.
but I don't know if I feel it. But I know that every step of my journey is ordered. And so whether I'm at a restaurant talking to somebody, or whether I'm on the stage talking to 300 people, or whether I'm in a bookstore talking to a woman I've never met before, that God is doing this thing, and I'm just showing up and being a willing participant versus, oh, I ain't going here today, or I'm not going to do this. I'm showing up because I know God has something there for me. So I don't know if I'm looking, but I know it's supposed to happen, and I'm not sure how it happens each time. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. So what would be some advice that you would give just people who are scared of taking that step, or really, I think I want to say where they're not honoring themselves, where, they're in positions where they know that they're compromising, or they know they aren't in positions where purpose is being activated on, what's on the inside of them isn't getting out. And that becomes frustrating. So what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about stepping out, or thinking about, oh, I really feel I should do this?
Yeah. Wow. I think the biggest thing is just to do it. It sounds simple. I think what happens is, we hear, what is that saying? That, oh man, analysis paralysis. So sometimes we're sitting there when they're talking about what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do not? Sometimes we can analyze the heck out of something, all the reasons why we shouldn't do it, or how it's going to fail, or what other people are going to say, or how I'm going to show up on social media. And so that keeps us stuck, right? All the time, both of us, right? Girl, we've had some good combos about that. But it keeps us stuck. And so action cures fear every single time. Action.
Say that again. Say that again.
Cures fear every single time. So people are wondering if people are scared.
Oh, I gotta write that down.
Watch the replay, girl. No, I'm just joking. No, but it does. It cures the fear every single time when we step, versus us stepping on the sidelines, analyzing, like I said, the ways that it won't work. So that's what I would encourage people to do, to step. And I think the biggest thing is we're in such a society where everything is perfect, right? Our Instagram got to have the right filter. I got my ring light over here so you can see my little chocolate stuff going on, right? You got to show up my best stuff. But we're in this space of perfection, right? And people really gravitate to our authenticity. So stepping out and making those mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in our business. I just made one a couple days ago in our business, all the time. But all I can do is grow from it. But in this space of perfection, our society, our peers, our people are nervous about even making the first move because it's not going to be perfect. We're going to falter. We're going to do this. And I say, forget that. Just step out and fall. And yes, it's scary. I mean, it's very scary. We have our own expectations, our own goals for ourselves, how our mind's eye of how we see ourselves and what success looks like. We see that. And so whenever we're taking those moves, we're questioning, we're wondering. But action cures fear. So I encourage people just to step out and take that step, or research whatever you're trying to do, whatever needs to make you comfortable at those times. If it's researching, if it's interviewing somebody, if it's going out and reading or watching or listening to a podcast, whatever those things are to shore up your skill set, to shore up where you are, where you want to be in your industry, do those things, because we have to be wise. God gave us discernment. So they just, oh, I'm going to step out and open up a billion-dollar business. There's some steps have to take place, right? And
Right,
so I want
right.
people to know that there's some steps that take place. But when you're in your purpose, it doesn't matter. He's going to make you, allow you to show up in spaces that were destined for you, even when you're not at the space of perfection. I've showed up in many places where I was not perfect, but I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be there. And other people were like, why are you here? Oh, don't worry about why I'm here. God told me I'm supposed to be here. And I don't know any of you in this room, but I know I'm here to make an impact. And it'll show up. It'll rise. I'll connect with the people that I'm supposed to connect with. I'm in those spaces. So yeah, I'm gonna read this real quick from I love this book. Go to MahoganyBooks and get it, right? Oh, it's called What I Know for Sure, right? By Oprah. And something I highlighted years ago when I read it says, the truth is that the naysayers in your life can never fully be satisfied. So we're talking about purpose and the people who are around you. The naysayers in your life will never be fully satisfied. Whether you hide who you are or shine, they'll always feel threatened because they don't believe they are enough. So stop paying attention to them, right? So if it's your purpose and people are like, well, I grew up with her, I know how she used to be, and she shouldn't be, how she showing up in this space, or how she's speaking on the stage in front of 500 people. It doesn't matter what you do. Step out of your purpose anyway, and learn and fall and get up again and try it over and over. So yeah, that's what I would leave people. I would also leave two other things, and I wrote this down so I won't forget. One, as I mentioned earlier, align your personality with your purpose, right? Align those two. If you're not an extrovert, don't try to do all that stuff, but go back and find the dots that God has showed you. They're going to connect, right? And that's okay. Yes. And there's going to be moments where you have to step out of your comfort zone. We get it. But align your personality with your purpose. And you'll see those steps all along your way. I saw when I was at college and I wanted to connect people. I started an organization. It was the largest launch out of Langston's history, I believe, at that point, where 200 women joined. Because I was thinking of how do I bring women and sisterhood together on this campus? Not that it was this horrible place, but it's something that was in my spirit. And I didn't know that was my purpose at that time. And when I pledged in my sorority, I kept thinking, how do I bring women from all the sororities together? And started Sisters of the Pan. So again, all these pieces, dots, when I look back, God was saying, okay, I'm showing you, you're stepping out, you know what's coming innately natural for you. And so to see that show up in my bookstore now, it's amazing. But that's my personality aligning with my purpose. I was going to say too, your gifts never change, right? So my gift to connect and create connection amongst people hasn't changed. It just shows up in different vehicles. It shows up in the bookstore. It shows up when I'm at board meetings. It shows up when I'm at brunch. It shows up in all these places where I'm connecting people, where I'm allowing people and showing them the value of what it means to be in connection with each other. So the vehicle changes, but your gift doesn't, right? So people need to realize that. And then the other one is, what were the gifts? Just I want people to know and to think, take a moment, get quiet, turn the radio off, and think about what those things were that when you were a child, what were those gifts that you were blessed with? Because a lot of times we're looking for all this stuff outside of ourselves. What is my purpose? What is my... God, just take a moment. It's amazing. Take a moment to look at, even as a child, what were those things that you were doing that people often remark on? I was always like, oh, they would always say, we always remember her. And I wasn't doing anything to be remembered. But it's just how I was interacting with them that when they left me as a child, they always remembered that little girl right there. And I didn't know that. But those show me as an adult that to be able to interact with people and to connect with people, that's my gift. And I love it. I love that. That's awesome. In the bookstore too. Yeah.
And then one other thing that I also say too is that purpose eliminates competition.
Yes.
When you are walking your road of purpose, You don't have to compete with anybody else because your assignment is your assignment. Your journey is your journey. And there's no one to compete against. You know, like a lot of people ask like, how'd you get on that show? How'd that happen? I can't tell.
Right, girl.
Look, but all I know is purpose had me there. I was supposed to be there. So there, I don't have to walk in the room and compete with anyone else, because if I'm supposed to be in the room, because if what's on the inside of me needs to be in that space, God is going to make a way for me to be in that space. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's why I said you have to be secure at that moment with the vehicle, like you said, the gift that is being used in that moment, and don't second guess it. You might have all kind of people around you doing all other things. Again, he uses cupcakes for me.
Yes. Yes, it does.
He uses books for you.
Yes.
He uses connection, you being a connection strategist, you know. So again,
Yeah.
just be comfortable with who you are, because there is no sense of competition when you're walking in purpose. There's room for everyone. I've been in amazing spaces with this lady that I'm interviewing right now where everyone has had their piece. Like everyone in the room fit some kind of way, and there was a moment for everyone to connect and shine. Oh my gosh, y'all! Okay, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But again, that's a whole nother conversation. But there, when you're in covenant purpose relationships,
Mm-hmm.
there's a room for everyone in that space.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
so I want to say that. Do you guys have any questions? And am I missing questions? Because it's scrolling really fast.
it
I'm sorry.
is.
Does anybody have any questions for Ramunda about her bookstore?
I would,
Any questions?
as they're thinking of questions, I wanted to add just what you were saying too about, people comparison, right? So I talked to
Yeah.
friends and family over years who want to step out in a business or step out into a space, but their first response is, well, man, I don't know if I should do it because they're doing it. Somebody else is doing it, right? Or,
Right. Mm-hmm.
or I mean, I'm not the only bookstore. There's 114 Black bookstores across the nation, right? So we think of,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't want to do it because somebody else is doing it. God said, no, you're supposed to do it. When I think of
Yeah.
Oprah, when I think of Phil Donahue, for them, I'm dating myself, she could have easily said, I'm not going to step out into the talk show space because this guy been the king of daytime forever. But God said, no, 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 you're supposed to do it, because all of us come with an entire set of experiences and circumstances that allow
That.
us to show up in this space, no matter if there's
That.
20 other people doing what it looks like you're doing. I'm not the only person who speaks across the nation. There's thousands of people that speak, but none of them show up to the table with my set of experiences, with my mindset, with my thought
That's
process,
good.
with my
Right.
childhood and what those experiences, what those failures and what those triumphs have brought in my life. So when I step out and speak, it doesn't matter if it looks like everybody's got the same type of topic or gift or purpose. It's not. It'll never show up. Theirs will never show up as mine, and mine will never show up as theirs. So I want people to know, when I think of, as the questions come, when I always tell people, I think of CVS, Walgreens, and what else?
Rite Aid. Is
Rite
that
Aid.
still open?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a corner out here where all three of them on each corner, but they look the same. Why would those stores? One of them could have said, "Well, I'm not going to open up in that corner because that store is already right there." They're fulfilling the purpose. They're all multi-million, maybe even billion-dollar businesses. So again, you
Mm.
could show up and think, "Well, they're doing the same thing that I'm doing. I don't have any value. That's not my purpose. I don't know what I'm." No, no, no. They all provide value. Everybody shows up at each of those spots because of what they bring to them and what they mean to them. So, yeah, you show up, honey. Show up how you're supposed to show up, because nobody's going to have the same set of circumstances and experiences that you have. So,
That's good
anyway.
stuff. I've been asked about your social media handles. How can people get a hold of your wonderful bookstore and connect with you a little more as well?
Absolutely. So we're on all platforms at Mahogany Books. That's at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And they can find us at mahoganybooks.com. And then personally, I'm at Soar with Ramunda, SOAR with Ramunda, on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook under Ramunda Young. So those are the places, professionally from our bookstore, and then personally. And I love connecting with people. I'm going to look right here in the camera. I love connecting with people because there's such value. God is so dope. There is value He implanted in each one of us, and so
That's
I get
right.
a high off of meeting new people and connecting with them and seeing their value. and seeing how I can add value to them too as they go through their journey. So yeah, connect. Let's do it.
That's awesome. Well, I guess we'll kind of wrap it up. I
What?
think
We got time, girl.
we got time. Wait, hold on. Wait, we have
Oh, somebody said Ramunda.
Girl Beautiful just said, I just want to say thank you to Ramunda for pushing me to my purpose. Since then, I have grown in myself. I was able to express my purpose in my talent and that I didn't even know I was carrying. Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome stuff. Shamara said, you are amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm
But
trying.
yeah, I just said today, like, I just couldn't think, of anyone else to have this conversation with. I've seen you walk this thing out. I've seen it to where, I got that call, like, we're doing this. And immediately from your yes, from you and your husband's point where you said, yes, we'll do this, we'll step up to that next level, and to see within a year what God has done for you guys, countless TV shows, appearances, awards like this. I remember getting the phone calls from you, but like, I don't even want to post it because it's happening so fast. And it keep like, literally, it was like every week, what do you call it? What's happening now? What award are you? And again, that's just a testament to when you step out and you honor yourself in that way where you're allowing yourself to just be free and say, okay, I'm here, I'm the vessel, let's go, whatever you want to be done, let's do it. We had another question too, was when do you know you're in your purpose? I think maybe that one came before we answered the question. I think purpose is in you. It's who you are. Again, we don't want to get super spiritual, but I can't help but to mention my father and what that means to me. But,
Yeah.
The Bible says that he knew who you were before the foundations of the world.
Yeah.
You were sent here with an assignment on the inside of you, which is your purpose, your reason for being. Your reason for being here is your purpose. You just have to figure out the vehicle that's going to get you in the room to activate that purpose. For me, it's baking right now.
Yes.
For Ramunda, she's the connection strategist. It's her bookstore. So again, that's your goal. What's the gift? And then be comfortable with that gift. Again, I felt insecure about baking cake. I would basically, people like, do you bake? Yeah, I bake. I'm a baker. I would shy away from that label because again, we're around people who have tremendous, accolades or achievements and letters and degrees. And for me to be in a world of being around all collegiate people and then to go back to a homecoming
Oh, yes.
and tell somebody I'm a baker, girl, now.
Hello?
Yes, I bake.
Yes.
Yes, I bake cake. Cake has taken me around the world and back.
Literally.
Cake has put me in a room with dignitaries. Do you get what I'm saying? So be comfortable with the vehicle that God wants you to use to get you in the right spaces and places.
Yes, it's so true though. Like I said earlier, to know that books, I remember I won't put his name out there, but he sold his business for $105 million, right? A guy, and he said, I want you guys to come sell books. I'm hosting a party for my friend at his penthouse. This is a bookstore, right? So we loaded up all our little books, put on our shirts. I had our daughter with us because she comes with us everywhere we go, just about. She's a part of our business. But I had a penthouse in DC of a friend of a guy who sold his own business for $105 million, a bookstore. Woo! He could have called anybody, but he called us because of the reputation, because of what God's allowed people to see and expect from us. And so I'm in the penthouse saying, Mahogany, don't touch that piece of art and don't touch this and that, And they were just so down to earth. They were just so humble. So it was eye-opening for me to one, know that our bookstore allowed us to be there. And two, okay, this is what the multi-million-dollar people look like and live. And they were just humble and down to earth as we are. And so that was good for me to see, because I've seen, the opposite. Some people think they all this and start acting like that, but here I am with a guy who sold a business for $105 million and his friend and his multi-million-dollar penthouse. So books have taken us in so many places, so many venues, so many opportunities, so many celebrities. It's just crazy. But
yes, I watched.
But
I'm sorry. We have a question: is how do you find your confidence and security in who you are?
Ooh, I personally, I think I'm still finding it at times. sometimes I'm like, get out the way. Ramunda's coming through. I feel good. I feel like I'm on 20. And other days I'm like, ooh, I'm nervous. And I think that's human. I think everybody's going to have ebb and flow. I usually err on the side of I am confident, but to find it, I think it's just trying things over and over. You build confidence up when you ride a bike. If you keep riding it, if you keep trying, if you have an idea, you keep perfecting and keep pursuing it, your confidence by law continues to increase. You become more bolder with those different things that you try. But the thing is trying it, because millions of people never try. They talk themselves out of it. They got Satan whispering in their ear about it. They have naysayers saying, who do you think you're doing? You don't have a degree in this. So, but they never even attempt to do it. That is the key. Keep doing it. Keep trying it. We, I think of our website. This is probably this 4th or 5th iteration. The first one, we paid $7,000 of hard-earned money that we didn't even have. We had to pull out, you pull out of your savings, you got to pay a penalty at the end of the year, 401k, had to pay a penalty. So we had a website that we tried, but we knew that, hey, this is what we wanted to do that was going to connect our culture, our community, and books was the way to do that. So stepping out and doing it. This is our 4th or 5th iteration, but we could have easily said, oh, well, the first one didn't work. Nobody bought anything. And now here we are, 100,000 book orders in the last 45 days later.
Woo!
A website that we created.
Say that again.
No, I'm saying that again. It was a website, but it was trying it over and over again and being okay. So I think with the person who asked that is try it. It sounds so simple, but yet that fear keeps us paralyzed that we never make a step. Never make a step. Or we make a step and mess up. We never go back and say, oh, I wasn't supposed to do it. No, honey, if God planted that seed in who you are to do it, then you have to keep trying it. You have to keep shoring it up and reading up on it and studying. Just because it's our purpose doesn't mean we don't need to tweak it and get better. I still have to go read and learn how to connect and get tools, get sharper and wiser. God gave me a basis to start from. That's in me. But to learn it and be awesome at my craft and awesome at my gift, I always learn. I'm always open to trying and making mistakes and getting better. But what I do know that it's what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's what, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at my sister saying, that's my sister. I think of her purpose, right? She used to argue us all down. This is Rosalind. I'm calling her out Purple Mom ×3. And my other sister may be on there too, Birdie. But I think of them growing up. My sister Rosalind would be arguing us down. She argues us down to this day, but she's in law school, well, just finished law school. And so as a purpose as a young person, she was like battling. I'm like, who are you battling? Sit down. I'm the oldest, so I talking smacks and she's not on here, right? But she said, boo. But her purpose was not a lawyer. Her purpose was, how do I get up and defend other people? How do I stand up for them? She would do it as a child, battling us for herself. She was the middle child, so she always had this appetite to kind of show up and speak up for what she believed in. It didn't matter who was watching, who cared. And so to see her, and that's part of her purpose now, manifesting as a lawyer, is something amazing. And then the flip side is my sister Renita, who always had a magical talent.
She's here.
She says, I'm here. Gifted. You talk about somebody purpose planted as a young child. I remember she designed somebody's prom dress. She had never sewn, had never designed. She drew it out on paper. I mean, this was high school. And that person went and had that design created and sewn, and that person wore to that dress to prom. But this is a high school. Who's designing stuff like that? And to this day, her purpose of designing, of having an amazing eye and seeing spaces and colors and fabrics, she does it from a very intrinsic space. But that's what God blessed all of us with. So from my sister, from you, from all these people that are watching, what's up to us is to go back, turn off the music, turn off social media, and sit with ourselves and find out, look at how those dots were connecting even then. And then take the boldness, take the risk, step out on faith and execute on that thing. That's what we have to do. It's there. It's already there. And it's not some magic thing that shows up when you go to college. It shows up before you even got to college. It showed up. Whether you go to college or not, it shows up already. So
that is amazing stuff. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, because I can run my mouth, so please help.
We're gonna wrap it up here, but so I'll let you, if you want to close out and leave the people with something, I'll let you have the final word if you want. But one more time before we get off, give your social media handles, and I'll make sure I'll post as well. But just one more time, how can the people reach you?
Absolutely. So you can follow Mahogany Books on all platforms at Mahogany Books. So you can visit us at our website at MahoganyBooks.com. And then for me, on my personal pages, I'm at Soar with Ramunda. That's SOAR. And SOAR stands for Surpass Obstacles and Rise. So we will always have to soar. When I thought of that acronym years ago, that's what it was. How do we encounter those obstacles and still rise and still overcome? So that's what SOAR means. And so you can find me on those platforms at Soar with Ramunda.
Good stuff. So, again, I want to leave you guys with thank you, Ramunda. You're so wonderful.
You're
Thank
my
you
girl.
for being
You're the bestie.
my
We did
first.
this. Hey.
Yeah, my first guest. But yeah, I just want to leave you guys with the reason for this was to talk about, purpose, and just know you came here with an assignment. The key to this is to find out the vehicle that's going to be used for you to activate what's on the inside of you and get you in the right room so you can say or speak what's in you to the right people. Okay, so it's the vehicle. Don't ever ask again, what is my purpose? Because it's inside of you. You were born and brought here with an assignment.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to leave you guys with that. And I wanted to say one more thing. I want to say I love my amazing sister, Alicia LaShawn. That girl drove 4 hours from Atlanta, helped me set up, and got right back on the road.
Alicia!
I love you. You know I'm an emotional wreck. But thank you to my amazing sister, and thank you to my amazing sister, my wonderful best friend. And I appreciate you taking the time to just bless the people today, because I couldn't think of anyone else but you.
Girl, all these late night
I'm a waterhead, girl.
All these late night conversations on the phone for years. I appreciate you. I love you. You mean so much to me. There's very few people who I allow in the inner space of me, right? Who really get to see the behind the scenes. And my sisters and maybe 2 other people. So you're one of those people, and I appreciate you allowing me to be in a safe space where I can always show up as myself. Nobody else. I get to show up as me, and that's a gift. That is a blessing that a lot of people may not have. And it's not about having 50 million friends. You only need 1 or 2 good ones. And I appreciate you being one of those people.
Oh, I love you.
In my life. So I love you. I'm grateful. I'm excited. And we need to go get some Chinese food soon. So get to DC.
Please. Corona, go away. All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. You guys, thank you so much for joining on. And again, you might be the next person where we want to find out your recipe for conversation. So thank you guys. Thank you, Ramunda. Love you, girl.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, you guys.